fifth grade. I hope you had a really good, restful weekend. Hope you all stayed inside. Well, if not inside, at least socially distant away from people. As you've probably seen on the homework page by now, we are going to be doing a Google Meet today at 11 a.m. I'm hoping that as many of us as can make it join. I have put the link on Google Classroom. As far as I'm aware, because Jordan actually joined me last night while I was getting it set up, all you have to do is click on the link and hit join for the Google Meet class. Okay, so hope to see you there. The math lesson today is going to be the last one of chapter 12. It's lesson 12.8, zeros in the product, and it's 278 and 279. In this lesson, we will see how to do a multiplication with decimals with zeros in it in a shorter way than multiplying out all the zeros and then adding and all of that. So why don't we open up to 278, and I'll jump right in so this isn't too long a video. Let's look at number 1. Number 1 on page 278, it's 0.2 times 0.2. So what we do with this type of decimal multiplication is, for a bit, we ignore the zeros. We look at what our regular numerals are, the not zero numerals. In this case, it's 2 times 2. And we know 2 times 2 equals 4. And then we think about our decimal places in the final answer. Remember how we did that? We have one number behind a decimal here and one number behind a decimal there for a total of 2 decimal places. So we will have to shift from the back 2 decimal places, 1, 2. And of course, since I have a space there with no number, my 0 will go there, and because I like to do math clearly, I put my 0 out in front. So 0.2 times 0.2 equals 0.04. Okay, let's do another one because that's the easiest way for you to get accustomed to what we're doing. Number 2, 0.09 times 0.04. So number 2. 0.09 times 0.4. Once again, we're going to ignore the zeros for the time being. We're going to look at our basic math fact of 9 times 4. We know that 9 times 4 gives us 36. So we will write our 36 on the product line, and then we will look at how many decimal places we need to move in. We have 2 on the top and 1 on the bottom for a total of 3 decimal places. So starting from behind the 6, we move in 1, 2, 3. Put our decimal place there. We have a space that we need to fill with a 0, and then another 0 out front. Okay, so those are the basic math fact ones. I want to also look at ones like number 3, where we have a double digit and a single digit. We have to see if we handle that any differently. And as usual with math, the process is the process. So I can tell you we don't handle it differently. We do exactly what we've done the first two times. So we've got 0.25 times 0.3. So we multiply 25 times 3 just as we typically would. 3 times 5 is 15, carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6, and 1 is 7. So 25 times 3 equals 75. Now we check our decimal places. We've got 2 here, 1 here, for a total of 3. We start at the back, we move in 1, 2, 3 spaces, and fill in our zeros out front and here after the decimal. And that is basically how we do it. I want to also, though, look at numbers 40 through 43. We'll do the first one to give you an idea of how to do that, which is simplifying using order of operations. Okay, so number 40. And again, you should be copying each one of these down. Pause the video every time. Make sure you have all of this in your notebook so you have it to use as an example. This is the quantity 2 minus 0.75. So the quantity 2 minus 0.75. And then we are going to multiply that by 0.04. Okay. So using PEMDAS, or order of operations, we know P, parentheses, comes first. And so we will, on our scrap area, subtract, right? I'm giving myself decimal places because I have to align my decimal for subtraction. I have to remember those rules. So the 2 becomes 2.00, and we're subtracting 0.75. And now we go ahead and do our subtraction. Right. So we cannot take 5 from 0, so we cannot take, we're borrowing, we can't take anything from this 0. We are heading over to the 2. The 2 becomes the 1, and then gives to the first 0. That 10 now can give 1 to the next 0. That 10 becomes a 9, and we have 10 in the end spot. So 5 from 10 is 5. 9 minus 7 is 2. The decimal comes right down because this is subtraction. And 0 from 1 is 1. So we know 2 minus 0.75 equals 1.25. And now we're going to multiply that by 0.04. So just as we did in our earlier problems, we are going to think of this as multiplying 125 times 4. And so I will write that down here. 1.25 times 0.04. I'm going to ignore the zeros for the time being. 4 times 5 is 20. Carry my 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 2 is 10. Carry my 1. 4 times 1 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. 500 is in my product line. Now I'm going to account for my decimal places. There are 2 here. There are 2 here. For a total of 4. I have to move in from the back 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places, and so I will fill my empty spots with zeros. And so my total is 0.05. Now, you know you can include the 2 zeros back here, or you don't have to. You know, I always say typically on a standardized test or whatever, you would not see these 2 zeros. You would see 0.05. But they equal each other. So if you feel better at this point, leaving those 2 zeros at the end, I'm okay with that. Later on, when we get more comfortable with this, we will leave off those 2 end zeros, but for now, either answer for me would be acceptable. Okay? I'm hoping that you're going to do the work before you come online at 11 o'clock, because that way you can ask me questions if you have any. I would like for you to do on 278 and 279 the odds without the ones that I've already done. Save the problem solving for tomorrow. We are going to do this lesson across 2 days. Tomorrow we will include the problem solving. So just do the odds, including the simplifying using order of operations. And I'll see you at 11 o'clock.